Oh boy, here we are again. Bears fall to 1-2 as personnel and play calling issues hold the Bears back in a 21-16 loss yesterday to the Indianapolis Colts. I'm John Presnowski, joined as always by my BFF, my compadre, my companion, my podcast co-host, Mr. Jack Lomax. Jack, another rough Monday. This is a 1-2 football team, but really, in my opinion, the Bears are an 0-3 football team. They've played like an 0-3 football team. They've been coached like an 0-3 football team. They're dead last in the NFC North right now. Seems like the sky is falling. How are you feeling this morning? Because I'm going through it right now.
I thought one night would be enough to get over it, sleep on it, let the emotions settle, and it fucking hasn't. I'm fucking pissed. It is so frustrating being a Chicago Bears fan. We are a cursed franchise. It doesn't matter who's at the helm. It doesn't matter who's on the field. We're cursed. I don't know what Virginia McCaskey's done to put this curse on us, but I'm somehow putting it down on her. She's made a deal with the devil to get her riches, and here we are. We're a shit team with a fucking shit organization, and it's so frustrating to love him and hate him at the same time.
Virginia sold her soul to the football gods, and we find the Bears back to football irrelevancy through almost the first quarter of the regular season. This is the Bear Necessities Podcast. This is clearly a vent session on this Monday morning. All are welcome. We're going to get to the good, the bad, the ugly from yesterday's game. There was some good. There was some positive. I know it's really hard to try and see the positive from yesterday when there was so much negative, specifically the play calling. And just overall time management issues that we're still dealing with in Matt Eberflus's third year as head coach. We're still going through this shit. Don't quite understand it. Can't wrap my head around it. But there was some good I do want to talk about. We're going to get to some tweets that blew our minds, and we're going to look ahead to week 4 at home against the Rams. But first, Jack, again, I just want to get to my bottom line and just my overall statement where I'm at right now. Like, I know we're just kind of bringing that panic button just a little closer and closer each week. What if we were all wrong this offseason? Like, what if we were duped into believing that this team was going to compete and this team was going to be relevant this year? Like, what if the Bears are really another year away and, big picture thinking, like, am I sounding the alarm too soon here? The wins don't matter this year. Like, all that matters truly is Caleb's progress, is Rome's progress. Small victories. Like, am I sounding the alarm too soon here is basically what I'm asking. Because right now, where this is heading, like, it's a fucking disaster. It's a shit show. The Bears are, one of the worst teams in the league in offensive, EPA, efficiency per play. Like, it's so bad. Why are we here? Why is it so hard to ask for just competence on the offensive side of the football? Like, why are we as a fan base just starving for any type of normalcy? Like, we've been doing this our whole lives, rooting for this franchise. Why is it so hard just to have a normal offense? I can't wrap my head around it.
So I'm gonna go against you here. I can't have that mentality that we are just another year. We've been another fucking year for the last 5 years. It has been extremely frustrating being a Chicago Bears fan, seeing this defense being built as it is, seeing this offense being built as it is. I mean, realistically, you look at that offensive line. We're not even going to talk about that offensive line right now, but you look at that offense and all those playmakers, and you look at that defense, and again, top unit. For me, best unit in the NFL right now. I don't want to have that mentality that we're in next year. I don't want to have that mentality over next year. I want that mentality that we're building a roster for now, and we need to win some fucking games now because we need to be performing now while we've got that defense now.
So go on. I'm gonna start to challenge you here. I know you still think that the Bears defense is one of the most elite units in the league. Go look what Pittsburgh's doing right now. I mean, like that's an elite defense in my opinion. I think the Bears are close, but they're not even on the same wavelength as what the Steelers are doing over there with TJ Watt and company.
I did bring them up last week. Yeah.
I don't think the Bears are the best defense. They let Jonathan Taylor have a couple really good runs yesterday, and obviously Jonathan Taylor is a very talented running back. He's going to get his, but. It doesn't help that our defense is on the field again for the majority of the game.
75% of the game.
What blows my mind about yesterday, and we're going to get to Shane Waldron, we're going to get to the offensive line issues, we're going to get to Caleb, because I thought Caleb played his best game as a pro. First time a Bears quarterback has thrown for over 300 yards since Justin Fields did it last year against Denver. And mind you, really quick, before we get into everything, people need to stop with the comparing, look at Justin Fields. He's 3-0 right now at Pittsburgh. Coaching matters in this league. Justin is actually playing for a franchise that knows what they're doing, that has sustainable success, that has put good coaching around him. And it's not like Justin Fields it's not like the Steelers are 3-0 because Justin Fields. Justin Fields has done a good job of managing games to help the Steelers become 3-0 and riding that elite defense that they have. And their defense is elite. Like, Caleb Williams has shown more to me through 3 games as a 22-year-old, as an overall quarterback, and as a passer, which is what we all wanted out of Justin, through 3 games than Justin showed me through like 43 games, I believe, is what he played as a Bear. Justin threw for 300 yards once as a Bear, just one time against Denver last year. And granted, that was one of the best games he ever played as a Bear, and they still lost. Tell me coaching doesn't matter in this league. Tell me coaching doesn't matter. Coaching matters. Coaching matters. So we're going to get to the good, the bad, the ugly. And again, this is the second week in a row. I hate to start with the ugly instead of the good, but we have to get to it. We have to get to it. I'm putting the offensive line as ugly, but really, I really need to move Shane Waldron and the coaching staff to ugly. I'm elevating them from bad to ugly, because yesterday was probably one of the worst coached Bears games I've watched in years. And that's saying a lot. Like, only the Bears could manage to hire somebody that's just as incompetent and almost worse as Luke Getsy. Like, they would replace Luke Getsy with Luke Getsy 2.0. I mean, like, me and you have been talking about it.
Yep.
What in God's name was that play on 4th and 1 on the goal line? Just that whole sequence, Jack. They run it out of shotgun like 2 or 3 times, straight up the middle, and then you're telling me, Jack, a 13-year-old you played in Madden Online over the weekend could draw up a better play than Shane Waldron did on that 4th and 1 speed option play. Like, what the hell was that? What was that?
When we were like, a yard off the line, I don't know why we're not trying to tush push. It works. Like, getting into that shotgun formation and just fancy ass plays. It bothers me. It bothers me. You don't need to be fancy with it. And just that picture. You sent me that picture, and I've sent it to every single person that I know on the planet. That picture where he has that guy, all the offensive line on the ground. All the offensive line on the ground, and Caleb pitching it to DeAndre Swift. Absolutely embarrassing. It's an embarrassing franchise. It's an embarrassing offensive line. I'm going to say this, though, with the coaching. Luke Getsy right now, he's not having a great season at the Raiders, but he's still showing somewhat competency. Matt Nagy, when we had Matt Nagy here, dog shit, absolute dog water. And he's gone to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs are still putting up numbers. I know he's comparing chalk and cheese. We're a cursed franchise.
Matt Nagy also has Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to work with. I think Matt Nagy just collects. I think Matt Nagy just collects a paycheck. I don't think he really does much overall in Kansas City. But I think one thing people don't want to give Luke Getsy benefit of the doubt for, and this is all we've been talking about, is the rushing game for the Bears, because it's been so bad. The Bears had 63 yards rushing yesterday. 63 yards. Swift, 13 carries, 20 yards. Roschon Johnson, 8 carries, 30 yards. Khalil Herbert, 4 carries, 9 yards. DeAndre Swift, who the Bears are paying $8 million to this year, has 37 carries on the year for 68 yards total. I believe Caleb Williams has like 64 rushing yards. Yeah. That's a problem. Going back to Luke Getsy really quick, I know we were so quick to rush him out of town. and rightfully so. But Luke Getsy actually had a rushing scheme. Luke Getsy actually divvied up carries to all of our running backs, not just one guy. Like the Bears were a top 5 rushing unit in the NFL last year. What has happened since then?
Do you think there's a disconnect with Chris Morgan and Shane Waldron?
I have no idea. Yeah. I have no idea. But
Chris Morgan's the run coordinator right now. He's the run game coordinator and the offensive line coach. And for me, why would you do that? Why would you not give your offensive coordinator that you brought in and you're paying the full the full wheelhouse instead of giving him a part-time gig?
Chris Morgan has been the Bears offensive line coach for the last 2 seasons, if I'm not mistaken. It's not like he wasn't here last year. He's been in the building. So just bizarre. I also our rookie quarterback threw for 52 times yesterday. That's madness.
Not sustainable.
That's not sustainable.
Yep.
You can't be asking Caleb to throw for 50 times every week. I did notice that, and we're going to get to Caleb in just a bit here. I did notice for whatever reason in the fourth quarter, it seemed like they just kind of let Caleb they just were like, hey man, just run the offense and just do some schoolyard bullshit.
Audibles, baby, yeah.
Audibles. And it seemed like our guys were able to find a little bit of rhythm when they were just kind of going out and balling. It didn't seem like there was specific scripted plays in the fourth quarter, and Caleb just kind of pulled it out of his ass, and obviously he padded his stats. But I thought that for the most part the Bears were able to move the ball a little bit in the fourth quarter when it was a little too late coming back, but. When you put the ball in Caleb's hands, Caleb was the Bears' offense yesterday, and for everybody complaining that this team is going nowhere and stuff, there is a little bit of a bright spot. Like our rookie quarterback has gotten better every week. It's so obvious. And for all the Justin Fields truthers out there, go watch the tape. Tell me if Justin Fields can make that 47-yard connection to Rome Odunze look that easy in the second quarter. I know Caleb missed some overthrows. I know he overthrew a couple guys. I know he had that bad interception on the sideline. It's not perfect. He had an 80 overall passer rating yesterday. He completed 63% of his passes, 33 for 52, 363 yards. It was a good game. He's gotten better every week.
And you look at his overthrows, and look how much time he has in the pocket, and look at how collapsed that pocket is when he's making those throws. He is under duress. The timing is off, and the timing is off because the offensive line is off. Now, I can't sit here and say that we are paying these offensive linemen this much money, and that they are bad players. I am coming back to this scheme. I'm just thinking there's just a disconnect between Chris Morgan and Shane Waldron at this point, where you're asking one person to do one thing and another person to do another, and their schemes aren't fitting together. And something's not clicking enough so where our offensive line looks shambolic. Your one job is to stop your quarterback from getting sacked. We don't have to be doing any fancy little schemes and passing the player over to somebody else. Block the fucking guy in front of you, stop him from getting to your quarterback, give him some time to throw the pissing ball instead of him having to launch it really quick and overthrow someone for 20 yards.
I mean, for what it's worth, I thought the line looked a little better yesterday, not by much.
Yeah, Matt Pryor looks way better.
Well, it's not like... I think we need to choose our words carefully. Matt Pryor is definitely better than Nate Davis because Nate Davis is off at the zoo or the circus or somewhere every time he's out there. You could tell the Bears are done with the Nate Davis experience because Matt Pryor got the start, then got hurt. It had to come out for a play or two. Nate Davis went in, and then Braxton Jones had to go to the medical tent for a second. So they moved Matt Pryor to left tackle and then put Nate Davis in at right guard. You could just tell, Nate Davis, who apparently, was injured or hurt or aggravated something earlier in the week, didn't get the start, but clearly was still active, and just in case the Bears had an emergency, and they did. And you could just tell, I think they're kind of over the Nate Davis experiment, and that's how they're dealing with it. The offensive line are still getting bullied. I thought they did better
they really
against. I think they did better, but they should have dominated against this Indianapolis defensive line that was missing DeForest Buckner going into this game. They got off their blocks, but they didn't have that push that we need them. Like you have to push your guy back in order to have a successful run game. Like rotating parts do not help either. Like Nate Davis coming in and out of the lineup doesn't help. And I think Brian Poles had this. Excuse me. I think Brian Poles had this master plan in his head that like, oh, Ryan Bates is going to be, like our swing lineman, or he's going to be our right guard eventually. And like the plan has just gone to absolute shit.
You can't do it when you're on IR. Well, yeah. Coming back to coaching, I was sticking on the ugly. I was coaching. If your offensive line is not doing its job, you pivot. You don't stick to the plan. You work with what you've got, right? You ad-lib almost. I feel like we are saying, okay, we're just going to keep going with the same plays, the same schemes. Know that your offensive line's doing dog. Keep doing those quick 5-yard passes. I know it's not pretty football, but it gets the ball moving. It gets the ball down the line. It brings those defenders in closer and closer because they're having to now mark up in this 5-yard, 10-yard scheme, and that is going to open up them longer passes. I feel like it's not rocket science. By no means am I a football coach, and I'm oversimplifying it hard there, but pivot. Do what you can with what you've got.
Right.
Don't try and stick your feet in and going, it's going to work eventually. It's not fucking working.
Yeah, and I don't think the Bears adjusting and adapting on the fly to having Caleb throw the ball 52 times is the answer either.
Right.
Like, and we're seeing a lot of lateral plays still. Like that's what Getsy did last year. Like what are we missing here? Like I want to see more shots down the middle. You saw a little bit of Caleb getting into more of a rhythm to Komet. He had a couple Komet got involved yesterday a little bit. So I did see some progress towards the end of the game, but it doesn't need it can't take that long. Like we need sustainable success right away as soon as the game starts. Caleb did not lose that game for the Bears yesterday. Caleb was the main source of offense for the Bears. The coaching and personnel single-handedly cost the Bears the game yesterday. And we're not done with the coaching staff. I think it's time to start having an uncomfortable conversation about head coach Matt Eberflus, who's now 11-26 as head coach of the Bears, Jack. He has 3 road wins in 3 years now. He has only won 3 times on the road. Does anyone out there actually believe that Matt Eberflus is our guy? Seriously. You do. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
I'm
Because to me, Jack, his makeover is fading. The beard, the swag, it's fading. You can look the part as head coach, but you need to deliver the results, and you need to deliver the wins, and you need to understand how to manage the clock. You need to understand how to take timely timeouts. You need to understand your personnel. Why are you going to take a timeout before you know you need to take a 2-point conversion? If the Bears want to reach the next level, Jack, they need a head coach that elevates every unit on the team, not just defense.
Not just the defense.
Not just the defense. We need a head coach that elevates the whole team. And I have yet to see Eberflus do that. I have yet to see it. And I truly believe 18 is our guy. I think week to week, we're going to continue to see Caleb do things that the city has never had a quarterback do, and throw as quarterbacks should in this league, and be a legit NFL quarterback. But the great days of Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze to come, I don't think Eberflus or any of the coaches on this staff are going to be around to see it if the Bears continue to play like this. I know we're 1-2, but the Bears have been coached like an 0-3 football team, and it's bothering me, man. It's keeping me up at night. This is like the 3rd year in a row that we start so slow out of the gates. Who is that on? Whose responsibility is that? The head coach. But go on, defend your boy.
All right, I am. I'm gonna stick my my flag into the ground here. So he has changed the culture from the get-go. I think he has changed the culture.
Has he, or is that Ryan Poles?
I think both. I think you've got Ryan Poles pulling in the personnel, but the guy that's seeing them day in, day out and making sure that they're all clicking and making sure that that camaraderie and all that stuff is pinpoint, I think that falls on Eberflus, and I think he has done a good job. You're right. Every point that you brought up just then is viable. Like I look at that defense and say, could this be like Vic Fangio? How when we got rid of our head coach there, and Vic Fangio's like, well, we had to get rid of Vic Fangio as well as a defensive coordinator. What frustrates me is I can see us getting rid of Eberflus and our defense taking that hit, and then our offense looking good, and we're just not getting that balance. My suggestion, big suggestion, throwing it out there, assistant head coach. Like a proper assistant. Hear me out. An assistant head coach that is going to be that person that can actually manage the clock. That person that's going to be able to make those correct calls on the fly, which clearly Eberflus cannot do. I don't want to get rid of someone who is that positive with the Bears personnel and the defense, and it takes a step back on that side. It's just, there's too much change. I think we just need to keep steady, add parts here and there, and it'll fit. It'll start. It's a puzzle, my guy. It's a puzzle, and I don't think it falls on Eberflus.
What bothers me the most is we play in one of the toughest divisions in football. Matt LaFleur won his second game in a row with Malik Willis at quarterback. Look at what Kevin O'Connell's doing with Sam Darnold right now in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Dan Campbell is a great coach in Detroit. The Bears have the worst coaching staff in the entire division.
When you put it like that, yeah.
That's a problem. And I don't know how that doesn't bother you, but it bothers the hell out of me. And Ryan Poles has done, and again, guys, I'm not trying to take away anything from what Poles has done with this roster. He's done a great job. And I want to give more credit to Ryan Poles making the culture what it is around here and bringing some life back into the building. I want to give more credit to Poles than Eberflus. And Eberflus has done a great job with the defense. And we've seen moments where that defense is like, holy shit, like that's a great unit. And again, they showed it yesterday. They did everything they could to keep us in that game for the most part. They really did. They had 2 interceptions. They had, I think, a sack or 2.
Yeah.
And Indianapolis, Anthony Richardson, basically wasn't really a factor. He had a couple decent plays here and there, but I think our quarterback played better than theirs.
Yes, he did.
And that had a big reason to do with our defense. But
yep.
Ryan Poles' biggest downfall, in my opinion, is hitching his entire operation and hitching his wagons to Matt Eberflus. When this offseason, the Bears had a legit chance to go out and get a Harbaugh. They could have gotten Greg Roman to be the offensive coordinator and establish a legit rushing attack. I think Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Lions, he's going to be a name out there. Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Texans, he's definitely going to be a name out there in the future as well. I'm just so worried, Jack, that the Bears are going to do a rinse repeat all over again, and we're going to have a second-year quarterback learn a whole new offense with a brand new head coach when this all could have been avoided. And it's the Bears' operation, and it's how they've done things for years of just never getting it right. That is my biggest fear of where we're heading and where this is moving to. Because the Bears can have a great defense, but this is an offensive league, and we need to put points on the board on offense, and you need to be able to develop and surround your quarterback with good coaching schemes.
Yeah.
And we have never proven that, ever. And what I've seen through 3 games has me worried as all hell that we're not doing right by this kid. And Eberflus is going to be gone after this year, and we're going to have to start this bullshit all over again. So as much as I love Ryan Poles and as much credit as I've given him for making the roster what it is, he has hitched his wagons to the guy that I do not think is the right guy. And I think that is our biggest downfall, and that is what keeps me up at night.
Do you think, though, if you brought in someone like Ben Johnson, don't get me wrong, Ben Johnson's going to work that offense. Is he going to be able to be a person that makes those calls like that we're seeing Eberflus miss? Eberflus is missing them. I still think it's something that can be improved on. But pulling in a whole new defensive coordinator and a whole new defensive scheme on a defense that's top five, it's a balancing act. It's a balancing act.
Like I said, it's an uncomfortable conversation we might need to start having. I think it's more important that the Bears move forward in the modern day NFL with a prolific offense than having an elite defense.
True.
And I know what defense means to this city and this fan base. I understand why it's important. I understand it's what we know, but I'm kind of over the past. I'm ready to start a new chapter, and we've put so much assets and resources into Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze and Keenan Allen and DeAndre Swift, and it seems like they're going to have to get more assets and resources to beef up that offensive line this offseason because
big time
we can't
now,
roll out
do it now.
We can't roll this unit out next year. Absolutely not.
Give me Bakhtiari. I'll take Bakhtiari. I'll take him and his titanium knees.
It's
100%.
It's just a mess right now, and I know it's a long season, but so far not good. And again, I'm going to challenge everybody, and I'm going to challenge everybody to just think about our coaching staff versus everybody else in the NFC North and their coaching staff, and tell me where the Bears are better. Tell me where the Bears are better.
I will
other
say,
than,
I will
other
yes.
than defense. Other than defense,
it's
a problem.
You're right.
It's a problem.
Yes, yeah. Especially when you're right. You compare it to the NFC North. We don't need to compare it to the full league. You compare to your NFC North. You compare to your neighbours. And I am sick and tired of getting pissing phone calls and text messages from my Vikings fans and my Packers fans berating our team. And I'm like, you're right. It does. It does come down to coaching. Like you got Matt LaFleur with the Packers, and I'm hearing two of my friends messaging me talking about Malik Willis did really good. Oh, fuck Malik Willis. How are we talking about Malik Willis? How is he in a conversation right now? We've got Sam Darnold throwing 4 touchdowns in a game, and I got my friend Corey from England messaging me. You'd love Kevin O'Connell right now. Do you know what? You're right. I fucking would. But we've got Shane pissing Waldron and Chris Morgan. I wish we could have had it. I said it from off season. I wanted Greg Roman. You're right. We should have got Greg Roman, and I think that does fall on Ryan Poles. He got the wrong person there. I'm still sticking out for Flus. I'm still sticking my flag in for Flus. Unfortunately.
Let's move on because we could be here all day talking about the coaching staff. Let's move on to some good that I saw yesterday, and obviously Caleb Williams and the Rome Odunze connection. I think was definitely a story that we need to take from yesterday. Odunze, 6 grabs, 112 yards, I believe, in his first NFL touchdown in the corner end zone there, and Caleb's first official touchdown, and he also threw another one to Kmet to end the game. Again, Caleb wasn't the best game, but if you look at his stats, Jack, every week he has gotten better. He threw for 93 yards against Tennessee. Yep. He threw for 174 yards last week against Houston, and then yesterday 363 yards. And I understand that the Bears threw 52 times yesterday. And everyone's like, "Oh, he threw for 52 times. Of course his stats should be like that." No one else threw. Caleb is a top 5 this week in passing yards alone, and I know almost 50 of those were on that crazy Hail Mary where DJ Moore should have gotten into the end zone somehow, but ultimately didn't. I saw good things from 18 yesterday. I really did. He has gotten better and better. There are rookie mistakes. It's clear he has overthrown receivers. He has been on the same page at all times. I don't expect him to. But there are some plays of brilliance that you saw yesterday, evading the pocket, making defenders look silly, rolling out, throwing across his body, throwing a dot.
He can extend the play.
He can extend the play.
Yeah.
And the guy that we had before, could not make those throws. He can evade the pocket. He can rush all he wanted.
But he's running, yeah.
But that's not sustainable football. We need someone to throw the ball and play the quarterback position. Justin Fields would have thrown 3 interceptions yesterday. Justin Fields, yesterday's game would have been worse with our coaching staff and where things are heading had Justin been at the helm than what I saw at 18 yesterday. There are some good things that I saw yesterday from 18, from Odunze. And again, defense did their part. 2 interceptions, a sack, 3 quarterbacks hits, and they held the Colts to 3-12 on third down. Pretty good.
Caleb Williams is making rookie mistakes, and that's it. It's rookie mistakes that are coachable, and that's the main thing to take away from that. Yes, he had a fantastic game. His trajectory is positive. Rookie mistakes are coached out of you. The future is bright with Caleb Williams. Rome Odunze, he looked absolutely phenomenal. Echoing that part, he looked fantastic. Looked every bit of a Chicago Bear that we can hitch on. Cole Kmet, no longer a blocking tight end after two games. We've been preaching that from the get-go. Now he puts up, 100-plus yards? Did he put up 100-plus yards? I know he got 25 points in fantasy football because I dropped him like an absolute moron.
Kmet, 10 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown.
Put him out as a pass catcher. Positives. Like, we are learning.
It was nice to see.
We're having to learn in the middle of the game. But.
It was nice to see Roshan Johnson get involved in the run game yesterday. What blows my mind is we're paying DeAndre Swift $8 million this year to be the number 1 back, but like as of right now, he's playing like the 3rd best running back on this team. Roshan Johnson ran hard yesterday. He fought for every yard, in my opinion, and I don't understand how he doesn't get more carries moving forward after yesterday's performance. Also, I thought another really good positive sign yesterday, just going back to Caleb, like go watch the film. Tell me who's the better quarterback. Tell me who should be more excited about their future with a young quarterback. Go watch Anthony Richardson throw yesterday, and then go watch Caleb throw from yesterday. Right. It's night and day. Anthony Richardson does not have a good arm. He's a tremendous athlete, big guy, big bowling ball of a runner. I think he's a good athlete. Don't get me wrong. It's not like he can't make throws, but I think it's night and day that the Bears like have a better quarterback than the Colts. Yet the Bears got outplayed and they got outcoached. That's a problem.
Let me ask you this really quick. Do you think Biscuit Knees Barkley, you know how I've always thought about Biscuit Knees, he is looking phenomenal for the Eagles right now, right? Saquon.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the stars align and we manage to actually sign him in Chicago. Do you think he would be putting up the same numbers as he is in Chicago? You know, is it a Swift problem or is it an offensive line problem or a scheme problem?
Do you think he's putting up the same numbers as he is in Philly? Is that what you mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no. Coaching, the running scheme, absolutely not. Saquon would be struggling right now. I mean,
like
how the Bears how the Bears are playing right now. I mean, they're playing worse than what the Giants gave Saquon to work with last year. Like that's how poor our offense is running right now. So
my argument is, does it fall on Swift? I know we're paying him $8 million, and Roshan Johnson is doing better.
I actually am in DeAndre Swift's camp. I actually am defending DeAndre Swift here. Like if our offensive linemen aren't getting pushes off their blocks, like you can get off the line, but you have to move your guy. It's not like they just stand in place. Like we have to move our guys. We have to move who's in front of us. Can't just pitter patter our feet and hope DeAndre Swift runs past us. Like, no, you need to drive your guy into the ground. And the Bears just aren't doing that, man.
Don't get me wrong, Roshan Johnson's a north to south runner. He will bully his way through. He don't do any fancy footwork. He is the yardage that he is getting, he is earning. He is earning every single step. DeAndre Swift isn't that running back. DeAndre Swift is that pitter-patter, get through the little gaps, but there is no gaps to run through. And it is very frustrating. So that's what it comes down. Yeah. We bring it back to offensive line. We could talk about them till the cows come home. The offensive line gets its fix. I think the offense starts moving, and I don't think we're having these negative conversations. I think we're having positive conversations. Did it start week 4 against the Rams? No, I don't think it does. And I'm actually terrified of the Rams defense, even if they are that bad. I'm terrified that the Rams defense are going to look like a Pro Bowl team next week.
I mean, we just made the Colts defense look like world beaters yesterday. And this was supposed to be a get right game for the Bears. Before we move on to some tweets that blew our mind, and before we wrap up the show and look ahead to Week 4 against the Rams, again, this is the Bare Necessities podcast. Go check us out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, give us a like, subscribe, and give us a comment on YouTube. So we really appreciate it. Lastly, before I forget, because Ashley wanted me to bring this up, and I think we've been so negative that we forgot about the forward progress calls from the referees yesterday. I just can anyone out there define to me what forward progress is and when it's appropriate for the referees to blow the whistle. So you're telling me that running back getting pushed, like pushing the pile into the end zone, that's not blowing the whistle early on forward progress.
And he was stopped. He was stopped for like 2 seconds.
But Anthony Richardson, who clearly wasn't down, still battling to get the ball out of his hands, that was called down by forward progress by the refs, and it negated Andrew Billings' like a strip sack interception. And it would have put the Bears like on the 20-yard line in Indianapolis territory. Like that was a huge moment that could have impacted the game that the referees essentially took away from the Bears. And mind you, I thought the Bears actually got a lot of calls their way, like the punt, the roughing into the punter penalty yesterday. Although he ran into Torrey Taylor, if you look, the ball did get tipped, and it's like, even though you could see the guy's finger tip the ball, which should have negated that penalty, yet it still went the Bears' way. Like the Bears got calls other than the Anthony Richardson thing. The Bears got calls their way, and I thought Anthony Richardson did not play that great of a game. The Bears controlled the clock. I mean, if you look at overall stats, Jack, the Bears ran 84 plays. They had more total yards, more passing yards, more time of possession, more first downs, better third down efficiency, better fourth down efficiency, and they still lost the game. Again, coaching malpractice.
I will say, piggybacking on what you're saying, that's 2 weeks in a row now, and now it isn't. Do I think the game changes? Actually, do you know what? Fuck it. I am going to say this. I think the game does change dramatically with both those plays, with the forward progression call.
No.
And last week with the punch to Roshan Johnson by arguably their best defensive player that game. He gets removed from that game. We have a different game there. We have that strip sack interception. We have a different game here. Do we win? I don't know. But it literally game changes. So incompetent refereeing, not only is it incompetent refereeing, it is refereeing where realistically someone from New York should be calling down and saying, hold on a second, you have made an incorrect call. This is a fixable call that we can change. Let's change it. And it's not being done, and I think that's a gap.
It's 2024. Like how the NFL isn't able to correct these like really obvious refereeing mistakes that cost teams games, I just cannot wrap my head around. And that was just one of those moments yesterday where there's just inconsistency from the referees, and it costs teams like huge moments in the game. Like that would have been such a pivotal moment that the refs literally just took away from Chicago. Make it make sense. All right, let's move on to some tweets that blew our mind. Really quick, Caleb Williams, his 363 passing yards are the 11th most in a game in Bears history. It's the 8th since the AFL-NFL merger. It's the most in nearly a decade. Brian Hoyer threw for 397 yards in 2016. Crazy. That's how bad it is if you're a Bears fan.
Yeah.
We're quoting Brian Hoyer stats from 2016. Woof. Speaking of quarterback stats, since 2000, when a Bears quarterback has thrown for 2 or more interceptions and has fumbled at least once, that's been 58 times that's happened since 2000. Not great. The Bears are 9-49 in those games. Just want to throw that out there.
Who's pulling these stats?
I know.
Insane.
I thought this was hilarious. Hard Knocks spent so much time making Matt Eberflus look cool, I completely forgot that he's an idiot.
I like that one.
The play calling on the goal line right before halftime, just
crazy.
horrendous all around. First and goal, Khalil Herbert, direct snap for 1 yard. Cool. Second and goal, Khalil Herbert, shotgun carry for 1 yard up the middle. Nowhere. Third and goal, Khalil Herbert, shotgun again carry. No gain. And then fourth and goal, we all know the speed option that literally went nowhere. And the photo that Jack was talking about that's been circulating all over the internet this morning and late last night, you see 4 Bears offensive linemen on the ground watching the play, develop, 10 yards the opposite direction of where the ball needs to be in the end zone. All on the ground, all looking like, they're Rose from Titanic. Paint me, Jack. Paint me as you will.
Do you
Paint me
think
like one of your famous ladies.
Paint me like one of your French girls.
Yeah, pay me. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Pay me like one of your French girls. Yeah.
I will say, do you think DeAndre Swift, he saw, combined 1,000+ pounds of linemen running at him and tried to throw the ball? Do you think
I don't know,
that
man.
if you watch his feet, I think he sets shit, I'm gonna have to throw this over everyone, and it's gonna be just an absolute beast play, and then he hesitates, am I allowed to throw on this play right now? And he fucking doesn't, and the rest is history. The Bears lose because we are the Chicago Bears.
Looking ahead, Bears host the Rams week 4 at Soldier Field, followed by the Panthers, and then the Bears go to London to play the Jaguars. So, what was supposed to be the easy part of our schedule might not be as easy as we think. The Rams just came back and beat a really good 49ers team. I know the 49ers were without Debo yesterday. They were without George Kittle. They don't have Christian McCaffrey. But the Rams also don't have, 2 of their best players. They don't have Cooper Kupp. They don't have Puka Nacua. So, and Sean McVay is a damn good head coach. That's not going to be an easy game for the Bears this upcoming week. This should, quote, be another weaker defense that we should be able to exploit. Now, will we be able to exploit them on Sunday? Again, that remains to be seen because we couldn't do anything against a weak Indianapolis Colts team. The Rams are dead last in total yards allowed. They're giving up 425 yards a game after yesterday. They're 31st overall against the pass and 30th in rushing yards per game. So if the Bears can't get anything going again this Sunday, we're in trouble. And this is going to be a long year until they miraculously figure it out. But it might be too late.
Who do we play the next week?
The next week they host the Carolina Panthers, who just won a game with Andy Dalton as their quarterback after benching former number 1 overall pick Bryce Young. And the Panthers have a pulse. Panthers have a pulse with Andy Dalton. So I actually am happy for them. It was good to see. That was also such a classic Raiders letdown spot. I did sprinkle a little bit of the money line on the Panthers live when they were still dogs, and I'm like the Panthers might take this. So looking ahead again, the Bears have a chance to get right, but have they given us any sense that they will get this right? That's the problem. And before we wrap up the show, I want to give Prez's bottom line. And the bottom line is this, guys. I'm going to keep harping on it. That was an extremely, extremely poor coach Bears team yesterday. You know how rare, Jack, again, it is to get better quarterback play and better overall defensive efficiency, and we still lost. You know how rare that is? This is, again, supposed to be an easy part.
But I don't want to know it.
I know. This is supposed to be an easy part of the Bears' schedule. But, again, you can make the argument that I think another reason why we're so frustrated as Bears fans right now, we're really 0-3. We should not have won that game against the Titans. We really should be 0-3. We've been coached like an 0-3 team, and we've played like an 0-3 team. That's why we're dead last in the NFC North right now through 3 games. This team, how it's constructed right now, looks decent on paper, but we're going to be hamstrung by this coaching staff. And the progress of Caleb and Roma Dunze has been extremely encouraging. But what we want as fans is wins right now. We want results. We're tired of the same old Bears here. We've done this the last 10 years. this bullshit of just incompetent offense and just hoping the defense just keeps us in the game. Like, why, Jack? Why are we forbidden from having a competent NFL offense? Like, why is it
Virginia McCaskey sold her soul to the devil?
Why is that such a hard fucking thing to ask for? Like
Yes,
I just want to know why does it just drain my soul every Sunday watching this team just try to move the ball on offense year after year after year? Why? I honestly feel like in some weird way, maybe we are cursed. Maybe Virginia McCaskey did sell her soul to the devil or the football gods.
She did.
Like, why is it so hard? Why is it so hard for us to just, I don't know, just have an average NFL offense? Average to us would look amazing. We've never had that. Like, we haven't had that since 2018. We haven't had that since 2013. Like, it comes along like once in a while and it never stays. And we're dealing with this bullshit again. Why? There's no answer for it. And it's troubling. And I just want to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And it's really hard to see that right now with this coaching staff. It's really hard to see with this coaching staff that, I mean, yesterday was malpractice. That was malpractice. That was one of the worst coached Bears games I've seen in a long time. And we've dealt with Matt Nagy and Luke Getsy and John Fox. Yesterday was up there. And if this is going to continue, we're in for it. And big picture, folks, big picture, if the Bears continue to play like this, wins don't matter this year. All that matters is Caleb Williams' progress, Rome Odunze's progress, and some small bright spots here and there on this roster, some individual player progress. But right now where things are heading, this isn't a playoff team. This isn't a 10-11 win team. Bears will be lucky to finish where they did last year with 7 wins. They're playing like a 6-win team, in my opinion, right now. Something's got to change, and they got to change fast. This has been the Bear Necessities Podcast. We left it all out there. A little longer of a show today, but we're hoping for better results on Sunday. Jack, thank you so much for joining me, my friend. Do you have anything you need to get off your chest before we wrap up?
Nope. I'm okay. Next week, it's just another week.
I think we covered a lot, and there's still a lot more we can get to. But I'm gonna cool off a little bit. I think everyone needs to cool off. I know you got me all riled up after. I was nice and calm coming in, and then you just pissed me off talking about the Bears again. Well, this is what we sign up for every year.
Chicago Bears fan. This is so good. I love this. I am so excited.
Why do we do this to ourselves? Again, he's Jack Lomas. I'm John Presnowski. Again, guys, check us out on Apple Podcasts. Check us out on Spotify and YouTube. Please like, subscribe, comment. All is great. Be good. Be well. Take a breather. And don't forget to bear down. Thank you, guys.